Hello and welcome back to BlizzCon and HGC Finals for 2018. My name is Kevin and we got one more matchup for you. You guys ready for that in the house here? Glad to hear it. We just finished up the matchup between Dignitas and Tempo Storm. Dignitas absolutely outclassing Tempo with a 2-0 victory. They advanced to the round of 4. But up next, this is going to be a tight, crispy, buttoned-up game of Heroes of the Storm play as we see Tempest and Miracle go at it. Korea's finest, taking it to one another. It's going to be a great game. We're headed over to the desk with Gillyweed. Take it away.
Oh yes, everything is going according to plan. Gen G and Team Dignitas are through with flying colors, but one of the teams in the next match, our last match of the day, could prove to be one of the biggest wrenches in those plans. I'm Gillyweed back here with Trixler, Caldor, and Wolf. Trick, things happened that last match. Murky was back at BlizzCon.
Yeah, and I was so excited. I thought maybe we would get another victory, but Tempo Storm unable to perform there. And it is a bit of a tough pill to swallow to see a North American representative fall out like that. It was pretty unfortunate, but at least there was something that was trying to be played there by Tempo Storm, and I commend him for that. Just didn't work out the way they were planning.
I know you were probably very excited to see Trixler get excited about Murky.
Yeah, definitely. Once Murky was locked in, you could really tell like he was lighting up there.
Let's take a look at the bracket and see what has transpired throughout today in the quarterfinals of our HGC Finals. Gen G 2-0 over China's last team, the one, and then unfortunately for North America, both Tempo Storm and Heroes Hearth Esports fell victim to European dominance. Wolf.
Yeah, it's been a bad day for North America across BlizzCon. I think the only North American reps we have left are in World of Warcraft, so you know, it's when you lose like that, I kind of agree with what Caldor was saying on the panel earlier. I think everyone wanted to see a real series there, and I don't think we got that. So, feels bad. But we are going to get the realest of real series here. Miracle versus Tempest. Isn't everyone excited about that?
I was like, oh gosh, let me take us to the next slide. Otherwise, I'll never get Wolf to stop talking about Korea versus Korea, but he did it anyway. He brought it in. But truly, it could be a very good series. I think it will be a very good series.
Yeah, and maybe before we start into that, I really want to recommend Heroes Hearth in particular for the series against Liquid, because that was the match where I could have seen both teams advance, and I think Heroes Hearth played amazing. That second map, it broke them a little bit, but even the way that they reacted to everything that Liquid threw against them, you have to respect them for that. It was a fantastic performance by them, and Hazops pointed out in an interview afterwards, it was a close series and could have gone either way.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, while you've lost, still something to be proud of for Heroes Hearth.
Certainly, I think anyone that is looking from North America can look at Heroes Hearth and be proud of their season in general. This entire year has been them about growth, and they made it incredibly far. Granted, I'm sure a lot of Americans would love to see that team finally make it in the semifinals. It's been 3 years since then, but Heroes Hearth is definitely the candidate for next year that everyone should keep their eyes on.
Wolf, we've heard from both Rich and Haswaps now about the Team Liquid Gen G rematch, and Haswap said he felt like there was perhaps a little fear there from Rich and Gen G. I even felt like maybe he was trying to egg on Heroes Hearth Esports so we didn't have to face the one team that took a game. Do you feel like that's fair? You know this team the best.
I mean, I think that there's always been a lot of respect from Gen G for Team Liquid, and you know, even when we interviewed them all the way back before opening week, there was a lot of respect shown, saying that their drafts look a little bit weird, but they seem really strong and intelligent, as well as Team Liquid taking that map off of them in the group stage. So sure, I think there's definitely some fear there for Gen G facing this team that feels kind of like a wild card team in some ways. But when you watch those opening week matches, it was some small mistakes in the late game that caused them to drop that game. I don't really feel like anyone would say that in that second game that Team Liquid crushed Gen G or anything like that.
The interesting part to me was that Gen G actually called that already before the tournament when we talked to them. They said they feel one of the strongest opponents that they have in their group is Liquid. Yeah. And at first, I really was surprised by this. It was like, everything that they said about the team, we were looking at each other.
It was like leftovers, like the way they were discussing.
Are they really talking about Liquid? Are they mixing up the names here? Yeah. And then it's Liquid who takes the map of them. So it just shows that they know exactly who to be afraid of. As you said, map 2 was close in that series, but still, Liquid is the one team that took one. And now Hazo comes in and says, no, maybe we can build on that.
Well, Gen G has already made it through. We'll find out which Korean team will join them in the semifinals with our next match of Korea versus Korea.
만족스러웠던 결과는 아니었던 것 같은데 생각보다 이제 그 경험을 많이 했던 것 같아서 괜찮은 것 같아요. 일단은 다른 팀들이 좀 어떻게 쓰는지 좀 메타를 알게 돼가지고 그런 걸 본선이 3판 2선이기 때문에 좀 변수를 많이 가지고 있는 해외 팀보다는 좀 많이 만나면 한국 팀 만나는 게 좀 낫다고 생각을 했어요. 이제 제가 우승을 하게 된다면 그 경기 끝난 다음 날 디즈니랜드 가서 가장 비싼 티켓을 끊고 하루 종일 재밌게 놀 것 같아요.
이 오프닝 위크는 저희가 예상했던 것보다 훨씬 더 성적을 좋게 얻어가지고 조 2위로 진출했잖아요. 근데 정말 상상도 못하는 만큼 좋은 승리여가지고 제가 기쁘게 생각하고 있어요. 사실 그렇게 만나고 싶은 상대는 아니었어요. 템페스트는 저희 상대로 전적이 너무 좋기도 하고 그렇게 썩 달가운 일은 아니지만 템페스트를 만나서 무조건 질 것 같다 그런 생각은 들지 않아요.
It's that time. We need to welcome these teams to the stage. They're the best to play the game from Korea. In the red corner, it is Tempest! And their opponents also hailing from Korea. It is none other than Miracle! All right, captains, please come to center stage to shake hands. This way, gentlemen. May the best team win. Good luck. All right, it's going to be a good one. Back to the desk.
While good handshakes continue to elude us, the good games have not. It's been great all day long, and this one promises to continue because this matchup, Miracle did far better than Tempest in the group stage. Tempest had a lot of problems with drafting. Feels like Sign, it's not his meta at all. Also, they're doing even some role swaps that have continued for them. But at the same time, Miracle feels like Tempest are their Achilles heel, Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, they've obviously defeated them in league play many, many times over this year and last year as well. So for Miracle, it feels like this is like a brick wall they can't pass. They've already beaten Gen G, not obviously in group stage, but they did end up winning against Gen G in league play in phase 2 twice. So I think the big thing for Tempest here is just they're going to be excited, as was mentioned in that interview previously, to play against a Korean team, to play against what they're familiar with. Tempest is a team that's more, I think, brawn over brains in a lot of ways. They rely on their mechanics. They rely on their team fighting. Strategically, though, in this tournament, they've been very far behind.
And the interesting part is that when we look at phase 2, or from the perspective of Miracle, they didn't even win a single map against Tempest. It's not only that they lost those matches, they were utterly destroyed. Then they come here, and it feels a bit like they're thriving on the stage. You see Judy with insane plays on the side of Miracle, and Tempest, on the other hand, we had that at several tournaments now, seems to struggle a bit when they are on the big stage, and that might transfer now into this match as well.
Yeah, I really think the thoughts from Wolf are echoed there. Bronze over brains, right? Yeah. Trying to see if they can power their way through. And that's the good thing for Tempest here, is that they got this matchup against Miracle. As mentioned, Tempest has already beaten Miracle on the ground multiple times. So we should see them get a big victory here with something that they are very comfortable with. But on the other side, for Miracle, I would love for them to get a victory here. That's for them to finally get that breaking point to say, you know what, we really do deserve to be here. Because as you saw from Judy earlier, he was like, hey, we've done better than we've ever expected. They need to have that moment to be like, we deserve to be at BlizzCon.
Well, they definitely need to prove it, because this is the team that for the first time has kept Ballistics from being able to represent Korea on LAN. Yeah. Though we have to remember that Nacho Jin is a previous BlizzCon winner. There is that experience there.
Yeah, and you know, Sniper has lost on this stage before, so there's two players here that one is trying to get a second title, one's trying to get his first, and then three players that are trying to hold the team together. It's the best roster that we've ever seen from Miracle since the Gold Club World Championship 2016 finals, where they lost to Ballistics. Ironically, that you mentioned that they gate-kept Ballistics out of this event. I think for Miracle, this is a huge opportunity to prove that there's more depth to Korea than just the top 3 teams that everyone always talks about. Everyone always says, okay, you've just got the top 3. Everyone else, they never go to international events. Blossom didn't do too well at Eastern Clash, but Miracle is the outlier. And if they can win this and go to top 4, everyone changes their expectations, I think.
The impressive part about Miracle and their performance for me is also it's not only the team synergy that they show, it's individual plays that always come through. That's either on the side of Blue Beetle. We've talked about Judy multiple times, how he had just game-saving moments for them. And so they have everything here. And if they can, without pressure, play that now against Tempest, they have a really good chance of advancing.
Right, well, you even consider beyond that, and they feel more flexible as a team to go into some pocket strategies, some strategies that work for them that other Korean teams aren't doing, teams that might be more rigid within their meta, like Genji, for example, though Genji's playing things like Alark, but you look at Blue Beetle, and it's that Ana and the Mephisto that got them here, and that they're still willing to play Trick.
The flexibility is great, but they also have a great foundation. If they have any of these 4 heroes, Diablo, Gyarados, Thrall, or Blaze, if they have 2 out of those 4, they have over 70% of their wins with that being mixed in there. So if they can get that and then bring in that flexibility, that's where I can see them breaking down Tempest.
Well, a lot of that comes down to the space that's created by the tanks, and that comes down to the draft and what they can get. For the Battleground pool, we're going to Towers of Doom, a favorite Battleground for both of these teams. Both have picked it throughout the group stage, but it's Tempest who gets to do it in a familiar place, which means they'll be in the second pick position. Bans will be on Dragonshire. Volskaya Foundry is always the ban for Tempest. Miracle changes up depending on their opponents. But Wolf, I wanted to ask you a question. We don't see Miracle banning Sky versus Tempest, which has been a lot of times a map that's picked versus Tempest. Why do you think that is?
I think that for Miracle, Sky Temple is a map that they've had a lot of historical success on, obviously with different rosters, because their early game was super strong back in the day. Now, and that map back in older metas would snowball really quickly. Now they're very good at late game, and I think Sky Temple has also evolved into a map that does go to late game where they feel really strong with their decision making there. So I think that's probably the main reason why you do see that shift. Moving into this map, I expect that Dahaka is actually going to be a pretty contested pick. Korean teams really like to use Dahaka to control the macro, control bell towers with delay on the altar channels. Not going to be a first pick priority, but something we'll see, I think, for sure.
Both of these teams have a lot of emphasis, as every team, is on Tyrande, but also Raynor and Thrall. So I would expect maybe we see Thrall escalate in the situation, but there are some key picks that have been left open here.
I mean, that Blaze is up and available if we want to go for that top laner. You did mention that Dahaka being here, which is always a mainstay on Towers of Doom. Typically here in Sky Temples, we're going to see him in that first slot if he is going to get picked up.
Yeah.